Are you excited that we are kind of going backwards when it comes to tech and building our business? I know as an older millennial, I am really excited that these new ways of connecting with people are actually what's growing our business, where we have been fighting online with one and two people being bots. There's a new way of doing business that's actually growing that I see in myself, I see in my clients, and I just see overall in the entire market. So if you're a podcaster that is hoping to grow and maybe your numbers are growing, but your revenue is not growing, this is going to be your episode. Are you ready? Well, let's go. Welcome to Podcast Story Selling. I'm Jen Dragonette. Here, we use your story to lead with connection before strategy. So your podcast doesn't just grow, it converts. And your business actually pays you without hustling harder. And the best part, we get to do it with ease because we focus on the right effort. Okay, I love when trends come back that are good trends. And thinking back to childhood, yes, hang with me because this does have to do with podcasting, your business growth, is that we used to have to be home by the time the streetlights came on. That meant that we were out doing God knows what for our parents, but we were having fun. And you know what we were doing? We were having fun with other people the majority of the time. We were doing dumb things, ending up in graveyards at night, drinking, all the things. But we started losing that as we go on. And I'm seeing this more and more in this newer generation as we move through. And now we are conforming to it. Bots are flooding the online spaces. And I've experienced this in both my business and in dating. As I'm dating into my 40s, and I know you're like, what does dating have to do? Well, I think that we date the people. It's like a date. When we're trying to get people into our business, right? We are looking across the table, trying to build that trust, trying to build that know, like, and trust, or trying to captivate them in some way that they want to go deeper with us. Same thing happens with dating. So here I am online having 3 amazing conversations, one about gardening, one about fishing, one about exploring and road trips and camping and all these things. And I'm having these beautiful conversations with these 3 men. And I am feeling so seen. I am having things reflected back to me. They are there's spelling errors. I'm really thinking this is real. Well, 12:01 rolls around and they all send me the same damn message. And I'm like, same spelling errors, same everything, maybe 1 or 2 words off, but all came in at 12:01. Yep. Catfished by dating sites. But this opened my experience and my eyes to what's really going on online and why I'm having so much trouble trying to build on social medias and social platforms, and AI is kind of coming out like the big guns of oh my goodness, it's here and it's probably here to stay. But I'm finding this also in my DMs where I'm having conversations with people that I quote unquote think are leads for me or my clients. And boom, you look deeper and you're like, this isn't real. These aren't really humans that I'm talking with. The thing is that AI can mirror our interest. It can simulate connection, but it can't show up in person. It can't show up where it's really important. And I think this also spills into our content, right? Because we're out there, we're putting it into Claude, we're putting it into Chat GPT, putting it into Ash, whatever you're using. And we're trying to get out these things and it can mirror your interest. It can simulate that you're creating connection. It can make you feel like you're actually doing more. But here's the thing I'm realizing is that if you're just using that content, you're losing yourself, you're losing that actual connection piece to the other human. And that's where your business and your podcast are flatlining. And I see this because when I've worked with tons of clients now, I've had 50 production clients over the last 6 years on and off. And every time they go more AI, their conversion goes down. Their return on investment goes down. The content creation goes way up, but it stops feeling like them. And that person on the other side, that bot on the other side, we're competing with those now. We don't know who's who. And it's so good now that you can almost not tell. And it's just going to keep getting worse. And yes, it's coming into the podcasting space because AI voice is getting more and more clear. I built out an AI voice the other day in one of my programs, and I allowed it to be trained to my voice. And it's almost hard to tell. Like, I played something back to one of my friends and they're like, that's you. And they were wrong about which one was me and which one was the bot. That's scary. But what's happening is you're not really building that embodied trust because it's mirroring interests. It's simulating connection. And half the time it's giving you information that it's gotten collectively that isn't accurate. And then it's taken out what's really you, which is your story, your depth, your connection, your actual life force. So this is why I'm really excited, and why I was so excited of being a millennial and going back to the days that were like, be home by the time those lights go on or you are in trouble, is that we get to go and network. That's what's building businesses. I built my business, my whole entire production company and the coaching side, because I interviewed 300 people on my old podcast. I made 300 connections with them. And those connections, the ones when I had the interviews, out of those 300 connections, at least 150 of them, I still talk to pretty regularly. If not every month, every other month. Check in, saying hello. I've gone to different countries with some of these people. Some of these people have become my best friends. Like, there's so much here. But as I was sitting last night with one of my friends for dinner, because I had realized that although I had created quote unquote Sonoma County Dinner Club, I wasn't aligned with most of the people that were showing up. So I did end up going out to dinner, and I was honest about like where I was coming from and why I was like, why did I cancel dinner club but still decide to go out to dinner with her? And I realized that this is what we're fighting against with AI also, is that there's people that have gone so far over into conforming themselves to this new age thing that they've lost that depth. I'm creating depth. I'm creating those friendships. I'm creating those relationships. I'm creating those, collaborations. And that's what truly is going to build your business right now. Because if you think about it, I think YouTube is getting like 30 million videos uploaded a day or something crazy like that. Don't quote me on that exact number, but it's something that high and that crazy. So I can only imagine how many pieces of content are getting dumped onto Instagram and TikTok, and you're fighting the algorithm. But here's the new unfair advantage of the algorithm is half of it or more is already a bot. So you're not only fighting all the real people that are trying to do the thing, you're fighting the damn bots. So where can you show up where you're not fighting a bot? I still think that podcasts and podcast interviews are hands down amazing. They are coming. This podcast is changing. Yes, we're getting a new name. Sorry, not sorry. But I had this breakdown the other day where things with bots just kept coming up and AI kept coming up. And I think this is where we've gone too far. Back in 2020, we loved listening to people with interviews. And then we got bored of that. And we're like, no, we have to position ourselves as the expert. Because the market started getting more flooded with people. So we started being like, I have to only have a solo show. And then you're showing up as a solo show. And they're both great as long as you're connecting with the other person on the other side. But what I'm learning right now, because we're having this boom of everybody trying to get online and everything not working. And, I've seen some great things, and we've seen some really big podcasts, Gold Digger podcast. Jenna Kutcher, right? She shut her podcast down and is focusing elsewhere. I'm not shutting my podcast down, but I am focusing on Substack. Come hang out with me on Substack, by the way. It's called Built from Story, and we're building your business from your story. It's a full ecosystem, full architecture of your business and your life and everything over there. We go really deep. We have action steps and all of the things. But what it's doing is I'm looking for platforms where I actually can connect with humans. Are there bots over there? Yeah, I'm sure there are. But what's happening is I'm actually creating conversations. I love podcasting, and interviews are coming back, and they are going to be strategic interviews for you to architect your business in a manner that feels good, because there's still a way to be successful in all these platforms. But you have to like out AI the AI, because there is the statistic out there that I was listening to a podcast, and it says that AI has actually made us 7% dumber. And I believe that, because half the time I talk to AI to try to structure something or to try to like help me like flush out an idea, I'm like, that's a lie. That's a lie. I've been in the industry long enough. That's a lie. That's the reason people are burning out. You know, just like those 3 people that made me feel like I was going to possibly get a date in person, it's a lie. And, you know, like, I think that these human touch points. So like when I look at all the things that are going on, it's like, how do I build this back in person? My dinner club is always going to be, you have a seat at the table. You're never alone. You have a seat at the table. We talk life, business, whatever. You know, on this podcast, we're going to start getting a little bit more structured around how to move your business and forward so that it's freedom. We didn't become podcasters and entrepreneurs to hustle ourselves into bed for 6 months. That's what just happened to me after last year, where I had that incident where I had severe anaphylactic, ended up hospitalized, literally crash carts coming rolling into the room with tons of staff, like borderline death. It took me 6 months to come out of that recovery. And I think that part of that was that I was so burnt out fighting and trying to keep up with AI. But whenever I have conversations with AI, I'm like, that's a lie. So yes, we're fighting against bots, but how can we connect? You're going to see me podcast. You're going to see me on Substack. There is another book coming, and you're going to see me networking and getting more speaking gigs. Because when I can be in a room of actual humans, I know they're actual humans, and they're not just mirroring my stuff, trying to make me fall in love with a damn bot. Period. End of story. So I think we need to start thinking about building from depth and real human touch points, not content. I think that master classes and workshops might make a comeback because people want to work with you one-on-one and be able to have two-way conversations. This isn't you as a talking head having a webinar running where you can't like have a conversation back and forth. I think the touch points are coming back. This is also why I've never gotten rid of the podcast CPR audits, because 30 minutes with me, I can look at your business. I can give you your one step forward. If after 30 minutes you want to work with me, we talk about it. If not, at least you have your one step forward and I've made a connection. But what that's going to do is that when that one step forward helps you, if you know somebody else who's stuck in that one step and you can't help them with it, you're going to remember my name and you're going to refer them to me. That's how I've built my business. It's not a pushy sales call. Like my audits aren't sales calls. They're like, I truly want to know you and your business. Just like when I have people on my podcast, I truly want to know them and their business and spotlight them. And what's happening is I build these connections and these collaborations, and the referrals come in like crazy. And that's what I forgot for the last year. I tried to go solo. I tried to just be a content machine, and my business tanked. It truly tanked. The floor fell out from under me. Like I was like, I have to borrow money. This is not going to work. Like it fell out from under me, because I forgot that business was people first. And I think that that's what podcasters forget too. So how can you build that depth? What are you doing that's just creating more work for you? Are you recording in video and then just slapping your podcast up over on YouTube as a full video and it's not getting any growth? It takes more effort to record and edit a video than it does an audio. Go live over there. There's a challenge for you. You're doing that. Instead, go live on YouTube and then download the video. And then just have the messy live over there, because it's not working anyway. So if you're going to put it up there, save the step of having to download it, having to edit it, all the things, because people, know that it was live. It's not working anyway. So why does it matter? Maybe you're using Riverside, which I'm using right now to record this. And then you're using all the magic clips and you're spending the time to schedule them and create captions for them on, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you are. They don't really work, because people, if they're going to be scrolling through that stuff, they're there to like zone out, binge content, not go deep. A podcast, you get 20 minutes at least with people if you can keep them engaged. Where how many Instagram videos at 6 seconds do you have to get that 20 minutes of trust in a podcast? That's why podcasting is the fastest ROI when positioned. That's why you don't need as big of an audience to like create the connections, because people are going deep with you. They're living with you in the story. They're living with you in your solution. They're living with you in this. So yes, am I excited that I was millennial and I know what it was like before internet, before it took way off? Yeah, I had internet towards the end of high school. I waited for the, the dial tone of AOL. Oh my goodness. And then that you've got mail. But you know what? My childhood, you had to go to a computer lab. Not everybody had a computer. You didn't spend all day on there. You wanted to be out in the sun with people. End of story. You wanted to be playing with your friends. You wanted to be creative. You wanted to do this. And I think that set us up to be a little bit more resilient, because we got to know what it was like before that. And now there's so many there's so many ways that people can bully you even more, that it's even harder for our kids now. And it's harder for them to put the tech down because it is addictive. If anybody has started a stop scrolling, like AA type situation, like Over Scrollers Anonymous, like let me know, because I need to sign up. But for me, I think that podcasting is the heart of not is necessarily, but can be the heart of your business marketing if used correctly to build human connection. It is an authority lever. It is amazing. So I want you to really look at what you're doing, and is any of that creating an actual connection with a human, or have you automated everything? This happened to one of my clients recently. She's like, I just want to automate the sales. I want to get a sales team. I want to do this. And I'm like, if I got on a call where I wanted to spend $30,000 with somebody to coach me for a year, and their sales team picked up, and I didn't actually get to have a conversation with them, I would immediately lose interest. And I'm not the only one. So I want you to start thinking about that. So that this week, I just want you to take a reflection time. Your 15-minute action this week is just reflect. How is your business actually touching another human? And is it a two-way interaction, a one-way interaction? And is it actually building something based on people? Because people are who's going to put their credit card in and buy your thing. And not every person you should look at and be like, ATM, 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 ATM. Don't look at it that way. But look at it like, that person connected with me. They might not buy my thing, but if I served them in some way, they might tell someone else. And that is literally how my business was built for 6 years. The 7th year, I let it slack for a little bit, and I paid the price. I paid the toll in loneliness. I paid the toll in my bank account. I paid the toll in struggling to pay my bills. And let me tell you, I'll never do that again. And after this whole incident with these 3 dang bots trying to like woo me, and they did for a while, never again. The bots in the DMs of my clients that we think are actual, potential clients and leads turning into bots. It's like, oh my goodness, this is terrible. So I think this is why it's time to start looking at how can you truly connect to people. I love podcasting. You'll hear more interviews. Hang out with me on Substack, because there's a great chat in there, and there's a great way to do that. And I'm building a community over there. And, come to dinner club where you always have a seat at the table. Want a one-on-one, like a free 30 minutes with me? Grab a podcastcpr.com, podcast CPR. And then one thing, don't do what I just did, which is give you all the different things at once. Always only have one CTA per episode, not 20 like I just did. But I'm just showing you that like I am creating depth. That's why I don't show up much on social media. I don't fight the algorithms. Can you still do well on those? Yeah. And if that's how you want to build, great. I'm not your person. It's just that easy. If you want to know how to do it, do I know? Yeah. Have I kept up with the algorithms because I have production clients over there? Yeah. But I'm also creating these other spaces for my clients, both in coaching and in production, where I'm like, we need to go deeper. Let's get over on Substack. Substack is my favorite thing. And if you want me to do some Substack trainings of like how Substack works great for podcasters, let me know. How can you go back to the prehistoric days before the internet and actually connect with a human? I bet you if you can find one way to connect with humans, maybe that's going to a networking event, finding a local entrepreneur club, golfing, wherever it is. Golfing during the middle of the week seems to be a lot of entrepreneurs that, like me, take the middle of the week off. How can you have an actual face-to-face conversation with somebody? And maybe you can't do that. Maybe it's a face-to-face conversation as an interview for a podcast, but where you're having a conversation with a true human. That's where I think we need to go back to. And if you can do those once or twice a month and actually form a collaboration for an acquaintance, friendship, whatever it is, that's how your business is going to grow as we start moving more and more and having to fight AI for space online. So it's a little heavy to end it on that, but that's where we're at. So go out, make today amazing, because you are beautiful, you are wonderful, you are worthy, and your story deserves a microphone. Now go do the thing.